5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It's still the same. This is also throwback.
My New Year's tradition from when I was a kid to now is always the same. It's always been get drunk and throw up.
As far back as I can remember, I would always play Monopoly with my family, and we would watch the live broadcast of the ball dropping. So I did that until I was old enough to tell my parents to leave me alone.
Watch the ball drop until your ball's dropped.
Yep.
Every year, my mom would put on Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin'
Yes,
Year.
Dick
and
Clark.
we would watch. Yeah, he was alive then, but he had like the voice because he had a stroke. And then we would watch all the performances, and then the ball would drop, and then I would usually fall asleep at like 10:30 before then.
I was always out by like 8 o'clock. I still am.
I grew up in a third world country and we were poor. My sister started doing this thing and I followed her by saying to our father that to help him save money, we were going to not eat until next year. So it was a joke we'd say on New Year's Eve. I didn't get that one year and I said it on Christmas Eve. I was hungry. It's a lie. It's a lie. My father feeds me.
We used to always go to my grandparents and bang on pots and pans. I don't know if that's like an Italian thing or what. And then my grandma would always open the door to let the old year out and the new year in.
Oh my God, that's so cute.
It was great. It was a great tradition.
Don't you remember we used to have like the grapes? People still do that for New Year's, but how many grapes?
It was 12 grapes, so it was a grape per month. As soon as it hit midnight, we would all start eating your little grapes, and you had to make a wish for each month.
Yes. I don't know where this tradition comes from. Like, are the grapes magical?
Would you eat anything weird or anything?
Yeah, it's a tradition. Like, I think it's a Southern thing to eat
Black-eyed peas.
Black-eyed peas.
Yeah, I know that. I mean,
black.
I got my card.
Wait, what about the hug? Okay, so I don't know about you guys, but we do the midnight hug where it's like, oh, happy New Year. So my parents hated hugging people, so they would pull to the restroom like at 11:58, and they would stay in there just like, what was so wrong with hugging
They're so antisocial, like seriously.
I was always dragged to my parents' parties and I usually ended up babysitting a kid and then watching the ball drop alone. I had a very happy childhood.
I remember as a kid, New Year's Eve, my parents complaining because it was so hard to find a babysitter. They were just like, where's Ashley? Why can't Ashley come over? And they'd have to like pay people so much more to watch us because they wanted to go live their life, and I get it.
What I always think about when I think about back in my childhood was the Y2K, because it was the reason we moved to the United States.
Everyone said the world was gonna end. So I was like, oh, we're done.
Oh yeah, that was scary. I thought the world was gonna end.
Oh, I was like waiting. I was like, ooh, the world's gonna end. And it didn't, and I was like, well, I guess we're moving on.
I was kind of sad about it. My dad was super specialized in computers, and then he got a call. They were like, there's a law firm, they're hiring, pick between Australia or the United States. And we were like, oh my God, Hollywood. They stuck us in like bump Illinois in like -7 degrees. The Y2K never happened, and we were stuck here for 2 years to finish out my dad's contract. And it was all supposed to happen on New Year's Day.
Well, there were always New Year's parties to go to, but I could never go because my father was always very protective. My mother left when I was young, so he's like taking care of us and making sure that we don't get into anything crazy. And I think he was always just fearful that we'd come home pregnant. Like, we'd just be like, Happy New Year, Daddy, you're gonna be a grandfather. And he's like, but one New Year's, when I was 14, he refused to let me go to a New Year's party, and he's a policeman, so he had to go work because policemen work on holidays. And my grandmother was asleep, my sister was already gone to college, and I was like, F it. I broke into the liquor cabinet, I actually picked the lock, and I tried all the things that were already open. The sherry was the only thing that tasted good, so I was like, I'll just have this. So I got drunk as on sherry, and I thought, in the movies when they drink coffee. So I didn't realize you had to have a filter. So I just put the coffee grounds in with some hot water, and I was drinking that and having coffee grounds on the stomach filled with, sherry. I went to bed, woke up to throw up, then moved over, slept beside that, and had to be taken to the doctor the next morning because my father was like, well, you're throwing up, you must be sick. So New Year's has always been fun for me.
High school New Year's Eve was like begging our parents to let us go to like a party. It wasn't even a party, it was just like a get together where we would eat like pizza.
Yeah.
That was it. Like the struggle was real.
I'm kind of starting to notice that I don't remember a lot from high school.
Ooh, a lot of fun. A lot of making out, a lot of drinking, illegally. Yeah, a lot of parties. Those got really crazy.
I'm pretty sure someone would always have a party.
Yeah.
Someone's parents would make the horrible decision to be like, yeah, everyone can come drink here. The thing about living in the suburbs is like no party lasts past 11 p.m. and
Right.
New Year's is at midnight. So
I don't feel like New Year's ever went too well.
In high school, New Year's Eve was a very important moment.
It
because, like,
was?
who are you gonna kiss at midnight? Yeah, it felt very like old and sexy and like, I'm so hip, I'm going to a New Year's Eve party. My parents are gonna let me stay out till like 12:15.
12:30? I can't come home at 12:30. Like, it hits midnight. Everyone's like actually partying after that time. And it's like, you, Dad, really? Papa, you want me to come home after 12:30? No manches.
My mom would call these national holidays like New Year's Eve, 4th of July, her birthday. It was an amateur night. It's like when the drinkers who drink and drive were out. So she didn't like me being out on New Year's, especially in high school. So I'd have to lie to her, tell her I was at a friend's house, staying at the friend's house, and then go out from there.
We all had a party house to go to where it was, at the time, it was my boyfriend in high school. His mom didn't give a and so she was like, everyone comes over, and then you tell your mom. I always told her I was sleeping over my friend Samantha's house.
That's the thing, like the lie wasn't even like that big. It wasn't even like a good lie to start off a new year. It was just like, hey mom, I'm gonna be at Amanda's, and then we'd be like, oh, we're at Caitlin's, and we're so crazy.
I've watched the ball drop on TV a ton of times.
Anticlimactic.
Very anticlimactic. You're like waiting for something to happen and then it does and you're like,
Can we go to bed now?
That's always like in the background, like you're at the party and you have the TV on in the background and you see the ball drop, but I've never just like tuned in.
It hasn't been the focal point, but it's always on, and I'm always aware that Ryan Seacrest is there, Kathy Griffin's with Anderson Cooper. Like, I know the stations, I know the channels, I know what's going on.
Ooh. You know what's crazy is the only thing I can think of when I think about the ball dropping is that time that Snooki was inside of it.
I always watched it when I was younger, but then the older I got, the more I kind of questioned why we were watching a ball drop, like why it was so cool. I'm sure it's cool to see in person, but like I don't really care.
Now we have like, let's go to Fergie in Las Vegas. And then she'll be like, hey Ryan, we're in Vegas. And
She is always so lit by the time they get to her. And she's like, one year she was like, this gonna be cray cray. I'll never forget that. I will never forget
I love her, God love her.
I don't think I had a New Year's kiss until maybe 3 years ago.
Really?
I feel like I always had the worst New Year.
One time I kissed this guy Greg on New Year's that same year that my mom thought I was at Amanda's, but I was really at Caitlin's. And I was always like taller in high school and Greg was a little bit shorter. And then we went over into the grass to kiss and I was wearing heels. And I remember I stepped onto the grass and it was a little bit wet and I sunk down. My heels like sunk down into the grass and then we were the same level and we kissed. We haven't spoken since then.
One time I made out with my ex at New Year's and then we went on a date a few days later. Like he was my ex and then I got him back because we made out on New Year's.
I think I like consciously always break up with someone like right before holidays and stuff because I'm afraid of commitment.
Last year I kissed a stranger and I was like, oh my God, this guy is gonna be my boyfriend this year. Like that's how it works. I never heard from him ever again.
I think I literally had like one like sloppy New Year's makeout.
And was it somebody you were dating or just because you were both available and a little bit tipsy?
100% because we were a lot bit tipsy and very available.
Do you remember when I got stood up on New Year's Eve? That was not a New Year's Eve kiss.
Tell us about it.
Hello, and I ended up driving your drunk ass and you threw up red wine out of my window, so all of the side of my car. Anyway.
Shh, don't tell everyone.
Because I was supposed to have a New Year's Eve kiss, but then I got stood up on New Year's Eve.
Who stood you up?
Tony, idiot.
At like 11:30, that's when people start to look around and be like, oh God, okay, you. And then you invest 30 minutes with them. That's all you need to do. You talk, and then you make out, and then you're like, thank you so much, I used you. They're like, oh my God, I used you too. And then you move on with your lives.
Gosh, that's so cheesy. And it's so annoying because when you don't have a significant other or someone to kiss, like you're always that like awkward person in the room, like
watching everybody else make out. And people like feel obligated to make out with just another random person because you don't want to be left out.
I think it's like the worst tradition.
Really? Because I kind of feel like it's a great way to start the year.
Oh, it's so gross. Happy New Year! Let's kiss. Like it's so annoying.
Tell us how you really feel.
I have never been to New York City on New Year's Eve, but a lot of people have that on their bucket list. Personally, hard pass.
New York City looks like the place where New Year's Eve happens, right? New York City is also the last place I would ever be.
Yeah,
on New
probably.
Year's Eve.
It's too crazy.
I hate Times Square to begin with. I think it's too much, it's too hectic, it's too crowded. And then you add the insanity of everybody drinking, and then you add like the excitement of something new, and you add Ryan Seacrest. It's madness. It's too much.
Nothing sounds worse.
I don't like big crowds. Nope. I don't like the cold.
Nope.
No. I'd rather watch it on TV where I can see the good angles.
I'd rather be alone.
I can feel apart. Yeah, no, that's a no for me.
It's comfortable watching it from the comfort of your own home.
Yeah.
Why would you want to put yourself in that uncomfortable 10 below zero situation
No.
with like gross people all around you.
It looks awesome on TV. When you're there in Times Square, number one, it's freaking freezing. There are so many people touching you.
Hell no, that's an anxiety attack waiting
That's true.
to happen.
I just can't imagine once you get in there, how do you leave? Like, do
And
you ever?
the amount of time that you have to stand there, probably with a shitty view, no.
No, can't do it.
People start lining up as early as 6 a.m. that day.
Like you're there all freaking day, and I don't like the cold, so no.
Also, I have a friend who went to the Times Square ball drop last year. There's no bathrooms.
If you have to urinate, forget about it.
She wore an adult diaper and used it. So gross. And I was like, was it worth it? And she was like, no, it wasn't. Nothing is worth a bladder infection.
Are you kidding me? No, adults can't wear diapers because if you pee, then you'd be sitting in your own piss.
I agree.
No.
I'm not the one waiting in line wearing a diaper.
It's cold, you pee, that warms your entire lower regions, keeps the heat against you. Just make sure you put some, adult diaper cream on so you don't get a rash. Be ashamed of yourself. I was kidding. I was f***ing kidding. You're gross. You're f***ing gross.
I mean, I'm sure once in my lifetime it would be cool to see, just to say you did it. It's kind of like anal. But besides that, it's like, he liked it like too much. I'm wondering why.
I've never been to another city on New Year's Eve, but I have lied about being at another city on New Year's Eve to get out of plans.
Yeah, I was in Puerto Rico one year for 2000. I think my parents were trying to escape Y2K.
On the news, they play each country's bringing in the new year with the
Yeah,
fireworks.
that's always cool.
Sydney, China, throw down. Amazing.
Yeah.
Listen, I party New Year's Eve in San Antonio, Texas, and us Texans know how to get down, okay? We go
Do you,
by
like,
the Alamo.
Decorate your horses with like streamers.
It's crazy. We know how to party.
We'd always be in Jalisco.
Jalisco.
That's where they make tequila. So every New Year's Eve, it was just like bottle after bottle. Like I've never seen so many people drink so much. And then even the little kids, so you make this like hot punch.
That's delicious.
That's like what you drink on New Year's Eve. It's
They
just
make
like
it here,
fruit.
too.
Yeah, they make it here too, but it's not like legit. And literally, like your aunt will be like, "You want a shot? You want a shot?" And you're like 10, and you're like, "Oh, okay, I'll have the shot." And you just get really drunk.
I've done New Year's Eve in Mexico. I've done New Year's Eve LA. I've done Dallas, Europe. It's
They're all the same thing.
everywhere.
You
It's
just
the
get
same.
drunk and then you don't remember anything.
Last year, I told all my friends that I was still up north on New Year's Eve, so they couldn't go to Mallory's party. I wasn't. I was home setting goals. Sorry, Mallory. Ooh, New Year's fashion is intense.
It's New Year's Eve.
The hoochier, the better.
Oh.
Although you're freaking freezing
Yeah.
all the time.
I used to always do like the little dresses, but still have like the fishnets obviously, but like the huge scarves. Like I mean like fur on top of like sparkle.
Oh, it's all sparkles.
Blang blang, you know what I mean?
Yes, and it's like the least amount of clothing possible.
Yeah.
Even though it's winter, you don't give a shit.
I live for the New Year's glam. You can go like full on formal with a long gown. You can bust out the sequins. I already bust out the sequins anyway, but
Every
it gives me
day.
a really good excuse to do it.
Yeah.
It's like a glitter explosion. It's like glitter threw up everywhere.
Yeah, there are no rules.
If you're not wearing sequins, you shouldn't even leave your home.
Sequin City.
Anything shiny, anything with glitter, anything with sparkles.
Metallics. You gotta have those
Metallics.
metallics, like gold.
Black, silver, red.
And you're super tan, fake tanned. You have a lot of makeup on and a lot of hairspray.
A lot of faux fur.
Oh, yes.
And perhaps some like accessories that say 2017, like
Like
the glasses.
Can we talk about the
Because
glasses?
there's no zeros.
This pisses me off. It's like a serious thing. I thought it was so cool up until 2009. It was
Yeah.
great. And then
2010.
2010 happened. And I was like, oh, the glasses are over. No.
No.
They kept making it with the dumbass one. It doesn't work anymore.
So stupid.
Hang it up, okay? It's
Yeah,
over.
they need to figure out something else. That
hit a
doesn't
nerve.
work.
That
I
hit a
know.
nerve. I'm happy you brought
pisses
that
me
up.
off too.
For girls, I feel like it's slutty. It's a chance to bring in the new year.
But then it's always cold, so it's very complicated. I feel like
Right.
I've even worn like tights before, like some stuff with like mesh, so it's like a little warmer, but then still like a little slutty.
I would always wear sequins and boobs.
And your boobs are always out and your butt's always out.
My mom would always make fun of me because she's like, "Oh, te tapas, like you're all covered up, but then your like boobs are hanging out." I'm like, "Of course,
Yeah,
duh."
there's lots of it.
And then guys, you can kind of just wear whatever. Like I'd probably wear this to a New Year's party and just show up.
Must
and
be
like,
nice.
"Sup?"
The kazoos. You're nothing without a kazoo on New Year's Eve.
And
Oh,
then
no,
your
I don't-
casual like blow horns.
Everybody has those, you know? The party thing is like, woo. The night before New Year's Eve, the malls are crazy. Forever 21's line is out the door. Everybody wants glitter, sparkle. BB, the store BB does very well. That is how they stay in business, is because of New Year's Eve dresses. It's tight, it's sparkly, it's black, it's shimmery. It says, you 2016, hey 2017.
New Year's Day, you eat beans and collard greens, and in the South, you have food for everything, prosperity and happiness.
Oh,
yeah, you
that's
eat all these
nice.
different foods to bring all of these things into your new year. So I'm always eating on New Year's Day.
New Year's Day for me is usually spent very, very, very hungover and eating In-N-Out because that's how I have to start my year.
Yeah, that seems like a part of the New Year's resolutions for you.
But that's usually not till like 5 p.m.
Do you make resolutions?
Normally recovering from a beast of a hangover. Oh, Jesus! My liver.
No one does anything on New
Yeah.
Year's Day. I don't know why that's the holiday. The holiday is the 31st, okay?
Right.
Because that's when you have the party. New Year's Day is literally everyone just hung over,
Yeah.
food coma, and you don't do
Yeah,
anything.
this year will probably be Postmates
know
on my
what?
couch and probably watching Gilmore Girls again.
Yes.
I mean, why not?
Usually wake up around kind of early, like noon, get breakfast, brunch, drink a lot of water, take a lot of Advil, go back to sleep. And then you're reviewing your pictures, you see a picture with a guy, and you're like, look in your bed, you go, oh, wait, that's not him. Who the f is that?
Hey, what do you guys do on New Year's? Let us know in the comment section below. And come over, set goals with me or whatever. Comment, subscribe, you know. You've done the internet before.
Things get really weird in a T-Rex Dizzy Dino challenge in that box on the left or on the right. You thought you liked pancakes? Well, we're about to ruin that for you.